Tackle made by Fred Thomas. Donald Hollis, number 12, came on in relief last week of Jeff George after the first series. He is 3-0 as a starter for the team, and up front he's got Mo Collins, Wisniewski, Barrett, Robbins, Graham, and Kennedy. Kaufman and Ritchie in the backfield, Tim Brown, Jett at the wideouts, and Ricky Dudley at tight end. Wide receivers split and a dead ball foul before we get underway. Tom White is the referee, and this should be a procedure call.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 72 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Lincoln Kennedy with the movement. Defensively for Seattle, Sam Adams gets the start for Sally Amua today up front. Linebackers Dean Wells, Anthony Simmons, his first start, and in the secondary, Springs and Williams, Bellamy and Darrell Williams. Hollis drifting back, firing it out behind the intended receiver Tim Brown, who was wide open at the 35.
And having already seen a penalty, it's something that Tim Brown and Donald Hollis and this Raider offense has to be very, very aware of, and not to fall back into a trap. You know, this is something that they've had a problem with in the past. It's the penalties. Last week they had 14 penalties, and John Gruden spent a lot of time the last week or so just drilling them on making those critical errors.
They come in with 89 penalties for the season. 2nd and 15, the handoff. Kaufman spilled for no gain at the 21-yard line by Anthony Simmons, number 51. Darren Smith unable to go today because of a pulled hamstring. He is on the inactive list, so Simmons get his first start. Oakland with 85. Kansas City leads the league, and then New Orleans, San Francisco, and San Diego.
It doesn't take long to figure out one of the problems that Kansas City and Marty Schottenheimer are having when you see a graphic like that.
Flag is down. Hollis gets rid of it. This one could come back for holding or could be declined because it's going to bring up a 4th down. Matt LaBounty had the pressure, number 99.
Yeah, Steve Wisniewski, number 76, was the most obvious one out there that was trying to just say to the defender, you're not getting to my quarterback. And that usually for an O-lineman means I'm just going to wrap my arms around you and I'm going to hold you.
Number 76, penalty is declined, 4th down.
So a rather jerky start for the Oakland Raiders, and Leo Aragus on to punt for the first time. Joey Galloway, he of the great speed, waits for it at the 33-yard line. Sean Springs is the short man of 2 men back, so a 9-man front for Seattle. They bring 7. Aragus with a short punt, taken by Galloway at the 44, 50, splits the middle, 1 man to beat. He gets by Aragus, no flags, touchdown. That is the 8th return for a touchdown this season by Seattle. It is the 2nd punt return for a touchdown by Joey Galloway, and the Seahawks erupt at the get-go.
Hey, what a great look there, too. First you saw Dennis Erickson going crazy and John Gruden reacting as you would expect the head coach of a team that just allowed a touchdown return on a punt. Not great blocking on this punt return, but unbelievable speed and burst by Joey Galloway. And how you don't kick away from Joey Galloway, I don't know. He doesn't return them all, but when he gets a shot, you don't give him the ball.
Todd Peterson for the extra point. Galloway 56-yard jaunt, his 2nd touchdown. And Dennis Erickson gets a little higher this week than he did last week when Darren Smith scored. More than a handful have decried his stoicism and have wanted him to show some more emotion on the sidelines.
Well, they've gotten the last couple of weeks, and it's mainly just because this is a desperate football team. You know, and Joey Galloway returned that punt like a desperate football player. They will do whatever it takes. Everyone has to contribute.
Peterson's 2nd kickoff in the early going. This one chases Desmond Howard 7 yards deep in the end zone. Touchback, and the Raiders will bring it out to the 20-yard line for their 2nd offensive set. And we are joined down on the sidelines by Michelle Tafoya.
All right, guys. Well, there is word that Charles Woodson may see time on offense today. John Gruden told me that he put Woodson in at wide receiver in Thursday's practice, and the whole team stopped just to watch. Woodson's been begging for this opportunity ever since he got to Oakland. Gruden says maybe the time is finally right. He may get plenty of looks, he may get none, but his offensive debut is in the very near future, guys.
All right, Michelle, double tight end set. Hollis with a bootleg, fires it out. He's got it complete down the sidelines to James Jett, the world-class speedster, and Darrell Williams catches up with him. Nice fake by Donald Hollis in the 24-yard gain.
And very nice fake inside, because Chad Brown and a couple linebackers are blitzing over the middle of the ball. And everybody bites to the left. Hollis goes to the right, and this is a guy, James Jett, that has to be the most involved in this offense to open things up for Tim Brown. He's the one who goes down the field. He's the deep threat that Seattle's worried about. 26
catches now for the season for James Jett. Hand off to Kaufman, who cuts back to his left, crosses the 45 and gets to the 46-yard line. The tackle is made by Willie Williams, number 27.
Yeah, when you play or you do games for the Oakland Raiders and you're a fan and you're watching things out there, you have to look at this offensive line and the running of Napoleon Kaufman as being really the key. When they're successful, Napoleon Kaufman, who's rapped for being too small and everything else, but he's plenty strong, he's the key to this offense.
2nd down and 8. Hollis with time into the flat, caught by John Ritchie, the rookie fullback, and Ritchie barrels his way across the 45. Jay Bellamy with the tackle. 10-yard gain and a 1st down for the Oakland Raiders.
And Vern, that's one of the John Ritchie bones, because every once in a while you got to throw a fullback a bone and make him feel better. That's his 15th reception. They do throw him the ball on occasion. One thing they don't let the rookie out of Stanford do very often is handle the ball. His job is to pound his forehead into a linebacker and open up a hole for Napoleon Kaufman.
And it shows. He's done his job well. Here's the handoff to Kaufman, who goes left, and he is caught by Philip Daniel, number 93. Terrific penetration on the run by Daniel, who got upfield.
Yeah, we talked about, passion and emotion for the Seattle Seahawks. It's really embodied in this Seattle defense and the job that they're doing. That is the reason this team is playing so well, is that this defense, they pursue. They're going to the ball. They're doing those little extra things. And what a great example there. Philip Daniels getting out there. The rookie Simmons is getting out there, and big Cortez Kennedy was right behind him.
2nd down and 15. Harvey Williams in the lineup. Here's Donald Hollis back to throw into the flat again, and Ritchie not able to connect. Anthony Simmons on the coverage of John Ritchie. It'll be 3rd down. 2nd down.
Yeah, one thing you can fall into a trap sometimes, and you see this Raider offense do it on occasion, is they get caught in the intermediate zone, and they don't go do stuff down the field. It's really surprising. Gruden's a Bill Walsh offense kind of a guy that likes the short stuff. This is a team that people worry about going deep. You got to give them that constant reminder.
Zone blitz on 3rd down. Here's Hollis, goes left again. Good downfield coverage. Harvey Williams is cornered by Fred Thomas, number 22. And the 3rd-year man from Tennessee makes a nice open field tackle. That will bring up 4th down.
And so far, Greg McMackin, the defensive coordinator of the Seahawks, is giving the Oakland Raiders a little bit of what they gave Warren Moon last time they met. And that's pressure on the quarterback, and you keep the receivers all in front of you. Chad Brown almost gets there in time. Sinclair's getting a little pressure, but you keep the receivers in front of you and you don't give up the big play.
Timeout is called by the Seattle Seahawks. Didn't like the alignment they had on the field in anticipation of the punt. 4th down. We'll be back. Play in Oakland, and the Seahawks didn't quite believe the Raiders were going to punt this ball, so call timeout to make sure they had a 4th and 4 effort covered in case. Aragoose is back, so is Kerry Joseph, and Aragoose pooches this one, taken by Kerry Joseph at the 10-yard line. Nice job by Leo Aragoose of pinning the Seahawks back at the 10-yard line. 27-yard punt. Warren Moon, he turns 42 in 3 days. His 17-year-old son lost a playoff game last night. Jones, Kendall, Gray, Habib, and Ballard up front. And the backs and receivers, Ricky Waters, Max Strong in the backfield. Joey Galloway and Mike Pritchard at the wideouts. The tight end is Christian Fourier. Galloway comes left as the Seahawks operate in the noisy end zone. Here's Ricky Waters breaking over right tackle out near the 15-yard line. Stop is made by Anthony Newman. Let's check the Oakland Raider defense. It has been superb this year under Willie Shaw. Harris, Jackson, Russell, and Johnstone up front. The linebackers, Terry Wooden, Greg Biekert, and Richard Harvey. And in the secondary, the Heisman Trophy winner from last year, Woodson, joined by Newman, Lewis, and Eric Allen. 3 wide receiver set now for the Seahawks on 2nd and 5. Waters, hole, left side, big hole, foot race now with Eric Allen, and Ricky Waters out to the 45. A 31-yard gain for Ricky Waters.
Well, one of the things about a play like that, though, Vern, is you spread out the defense. And by spreading out the defense with a 3 wide receiver formation, if your offensive line does that good of a job, and the Seahawks line on that, Walter Jones and Pete Kendall did a nice job, opened things wide open for Ricky Waters. That is what Dennis Erickson's offense is now. It's spread them out and run into the gaps with Ricky Waters.
Mickens in motion, and here's Warren Moon across the middle, caught by James McKnight, who's going to get a role as the 3rd wide receiver today. Brian Blades, who's had that spot for a month, not at 100%.
Well, he strained a hip muscle, and McKnight's in the game, and you know, Warren Moon and Dennis Erickson know that this wide receiver, as hot as he was last year, couldn't possibly get any colder, and they also know he's a guy that needs a good start. He gets a positive start, he has a big game. Things start bad, goes the other way.
Gain of 16, 1st down. Moon, quick setup, right side, incomplete, intended for James McKnight. Yeah, Dennis Erickson chatting with us last night confirmed what Warren Moon had said, that they want to get McKnight involved early.
Well, and they have to do that because of the 3 wide receiver formation. This is an offense that at the beginning of the year wanted to be a power offense. Remember last year, they passed the ball like crazy. Best passing team in the league. They came to camp, suddenly wanted to be a running team. They'd lost the passing game. They're back at 3 wide. It's almost a run and shoot again for Warren Moon.
On this 2nd down play, they will go with the I formation. Waters with Max Strong leading the way, comes left down to the 37-yard line. Terry Wooden, number 57, makes the stop with help from Richard Harvey.
And that's one of the problems you see. It becomes a stuff problem. Because when you get a fullback in there and you motion your tight end, there's more stuff in Ricky Waters' way. You're not spreading the defense out, and Wooden made that play right there on Ricky Waters because he was part of the stuff. Was brought over there by that motion by Christian Fourier.
On 3rd down now, Steve Broussard comes in at the running back spot, and Moon will operate out of the shotgun. 3rd and 9. Blitz, Moon, 1 hopper to McKnight, incomplete. It will be 4th down. Warren Moon, who hit 17 in succession a couple of weeks ago when these 2 teams played.
Well, Willie Shaw, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, he wants to do exactly this. You see where Allen is? You see where McKnight is? The Seattle receivers in front of the defender. Let Warren Moon do his thing, but keep his receivers in front and don't let him gab the big play.
Jeff Eagles, 14 punts inside the 20 this year. Angles that one toward the corner, and it didn't work. It goes into the end zone. That'll be a touchback. And the Raiders get the football back, trailing by 7. Goes left, caught by Ritchie. Nice open field tackle, and then some help comes as Jay Bellamy, number 20, made the initial contact.
And one of the things you do miss when you don't have a Jeff George at quarterback is the potential for the spectacular play. And Donald Hollis could be a very, very steady quarterback that probably, by the rules of John Gruden's playbook, play it a little bit, you know, to the book, where Jeff George there, who's out with that groin injury, is more the ad-libber of the group and has the potential to put that ball 60, 70 yards in the air down the field.
2nd and 5, inside handoff, Ritchie. Ritchie comes right, breaks a tackle, breaks one more, and bangs his way out near the 38, and a flag comes from way downfield after a 13-yard gain.
Maybe they might want to think about giving old Big John Ritchie the ball a little more often. Had a nice lead block by Wisniewski coming around that corner.
Here's Tom White.
Personal foul. Number 93, face mask, 15-yard penalty. That's a first down.
That penalty on Philip Daniels. Now watch the pulling, the counter on the backside. First Wisniewski, now big Mo Collins, 79, gets a nice block. Still getting a block on Chad Brown. Great job by that rookie out of Florida. And just look at what Mo Collins does right there on Chad Brown, opening the hole. And then Ritchie, and now look for the face mask right there. It was Willie Williams, 27. I don't think it was Daniel.
Here's Napoleon Kaufman on first down, and he is nailed by Matt Labonte and Sean Springs. Monday on CBS, doctors aren't supposed to give in to temptation, but Ted Danson is being put to the test. Don't miss the new comedy Becker right after Raymond Monday on CBS. Second down and 12. 13-yard Ritchie run and the penalty. A loss by Napoleon Kaufman on the last play. 7-0. And here's Hollis back to throw. Gets pressure, sacked. Dropped at the 45-yard line by Cortez Kennedy.
Cortez can be a bit of a power of earth sometimes in that he's not a real finesse guy. He and Sam Adams, 98, are just the kind of guys that will wear on an offensive line, grind and eventually get back there. And you know, he's at Miami. He was a very spectacular big play defensive tackle, and now he's more of a real solid waiter.
Yeah, week 10, that's his first sack.
Yeah, he's not the all-pro Pro Bowler he was.
Third and a ton. Zone blitz. Here comes more pressure. Across the middle, caught by Williams, but he is stopped as he gets to the 48-yard line by Dean Wells, number 95.
Right, that was almost one of the plays that John Gruden says Donald Hollis has to avoid. You know, sometimes you don't have a play. Sometimes if it's marginal and it could be dangerous, maybe you don't want to try to make this kind of a play because you're throwing the ball back into the middle of this defense. It did work out well. But, you know, file that one away because Donald Hollis, if he has a flaw right now, will try to force the ball.
On fourth down, Aragoose to carry Joseph. Joseph will let this one go. And it bounces into the end zone. That'll come back out to the 20. 47-yard punt for Leo Aragoose. Seattle leads it by 7. But it's a crazy house.
This stadium has always been sort of a general license for the fans to not have a clue.
First and 10. And they've paid attention.
They sure do.
Here's Galloway in motion to the right. Warren Moon into the flat for Joey Galloway. Out to the 27-yard line. Now let's check in with Michelle DeVoya.
All right, Vern. Well, Seattle's Michael Sinclair calls the Raider fans the rowdiest in the league, and he encouraged some of his younger teammates to join him in the end zone during pregame warmups to taunt the fans. Joey Galloway went right up to the fans and said with a grin, "The last thing you want to do is make me mad." And the fans' response, unairable, Vern.
but after that touchdown return on that punt, I think Joey's got a point.
Second and 3, 7-0. Draw play, Waters spilled. Dropped by Grady Jackson, number 90.
Grady Jackson's in there for Russell Maryland, who's out with a bit of a bad back. But this inside right now you're looking at is the future of this Raiders defense with Grady Jackson and Darrell Russell. A lot of ballast in the middle of this defense now with those two.
Flag thrown against the Seahawks. Dennis Erickson expressing his opinion mildly. And here's Tom White.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 86, continuing action foul, it's a second down.
Yeah, we talked about the fans here in the Oakland area and here for the Raiders. It's not a stretch to say that, you know, every day for these folks to get to come to a game is Halloween. Because whether you're wearing a costume or your hat on backwards or your face is painted or you're just here to wear your silver and black and go nuts, this is an incredibly expressive group.
Nicely stated. 2nd and 18 after the foul on Fourier, and Moon out of the shotgun. Yep. Timeout called by the Seahawks. They have to burn their second. 4:20 to go first quarter, and already Seattle has used 2 timeouts. There was the dog pound in Cleveland, and there's this noisatorium here in Oakland.
And you saw a little effect the last couple of plays for Seattle. The noise gets to offenses, especially in that end zone. This crowd loves to be a factor.
2nd and 18 at the 12. 3 wide receivers, 1 running back. Base front for the Raiders. Here's Moon with time. Deep left side. He's got McKnight. McKnight split the difference between Eric Allen and Anthony Newman.
Yeah, it's going to be right about the 40-yard line, but what a great job by Warren Moon. Joey Galloway talked about, Warren Moon can drop balls in. And Albert Lewis, the safety for the Raiders, told us the same thing. You can stand back there, you see what happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. Working against Allen, but see that zone? See where Allen stopped? The safety's supposed to come over? That's where Warren Moon is dropping the ball into.
Gain of 28, a first down at the 40, 7-0 Seattle leads. Here's Moon into the flag cut by Ricky Waters. Chased and knocked out of bounds by Marquise Walker, number 38. .356 to go in the opening quarter. Warren Moon 4 of 6 for 59 yards. At the start of the day, he needed a little over 1,300 yards to become only the 3rd man to reach 50,000 yards. Only one has done it so far, Marino, but Elway's close.
I still think we got to figure out a way to count those Canadian yards.
I do
somehow,
too.
some way.
Absolutely. Here's the handoff to Ricky Waters, and that should be enough for the first down. Check out the NFL on America online at keyword Team NFL and on the web at NFL.com. Log on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern to chat live with Jets quarterback Vinny Testaverde in America on America Online. I would imagine he'll have a few things to say about today's loss, huh?
Wow. Up until just about 2 hours ago, everybody loves Vinny.
Yes.
Everybody in the country loved Vinny Testaverde, but Bill Parcells talked about this week. That was a trap, and they stepped right in.
Here's Waters plunging down to the 45-yard line. Eric Allen made the tackle. Ricky Waters, 3 games in excess of 100 yards on the ground so far this season.
Yeah, the funny thing, Vern, as they've opened the offense up to formations and as they've gotten away from the power backs, Ricky Waters' numbers have gone up. He rushes for more yards without a lead back in front of him.
Max Strong is in as a lead back now on 2nd down and 5. Play action. Moon looks across the middle for Mickens and has him. Mike Pritchard, rather, at the 30. Mike Pritchard, a gain of 15. And the tackle made by Albert Lewis, number 29.
Hey, you start looking at the weapons Warren Moon has. Whether it's Galloway, he's seen him score a touchdown. McKnight, who's off to a pretty good start. Here's a good example. Here's Pritchard. Used to be a great running back at the University of Colorado. Run and shoot receiver at Atlanta. Came to Seattle by way of Denver. He is a big play receiver, but this offense has not gotten the big plays from the receivers.
Under 1:45 to go first quarter, and Moon pumps off his back foot, goes deep, intercepted at the goal line. Albert Lewis slipped as he made contact, and an obvious mix-up with Moon and his receivers.
Pressure on the quarterback by Grady Jackson.
Intended for McKnight.
Well, the surprise and the confusion spread to the Seattle Seahawks sideline because I don't think Dennis Erickson had a real good idea of what was going on there. Getting a little pressure. People say Warren can throw those fall-away jumpers. Well, not when an Albert Lewis is standing there. Albert Lewis has all the experience of a Warren Moon and just loves to get gifts like that.
In the first game between the two 2 weeks ago, Albert Lewis returned an interception 74 yards for the first return of an interception in his illustrious career. And he gets his second pick in as many. Here's Hollis. They hand it off, and Napoleon Kaufman gets one. Remember we talked about 17 in a row for Warren Moon? Here's how it ended up in the Kingdome.
Well, the amazing thing is a guy that's been playing this long as Albert Lewis has and been so good, all-pro, Pro Bowls, everything else, why he hadn't had a touchdown on an interception before. He had the greatest explanation I've heard that I had never thought of. He says, hey, look, I spent my career in Kansas City in man coverage with my back to the cornerback, running with the receiver. When I usually caught the ball, I fell down immediately on top of a receiver.
Here's Hollis out of the end zone, batted back and knocked down by Cortez Kennedy, number 96.
Well, Cortez Kennedy has obviously decided today that he'd like a little piece of the action here today, and he'd like to be a factor. Because that is 2 plays now that he's worked his way past Steve Wisniewski. And in here, Wisniewski actually has a nice block on him. He's got the hands inside. He's not holding. But Cortez gets that arm up and knocks it down.
Now the Seahawks are sprinting. They've got their wrong defensive personnel on the field, and they call timeout just before the snap. Cortez Kennedy was about 10 yards from the sideline, scurrying. That's the only word, to try and get off the field.
Nah, nobody that size scurries. Nah, Willie Williams, 27, who just ran by.
Yep.
He scurries.
He scurried?
Yeah. Yeah, Cortez Kennedy, when you're bouncing and jiggling like that, it is not a scurry.
Okay, lumbering.
Yeah, there you go.
They're out of timeouts.
You scurry below 200 pounds.
Next Saturday, it's an SEC shootout when Kentucky's Craig East and Heisman hopeful Tim Couch counterattack the balance of T. Martin, Al Wilson, and the Tennessee Vols. NASDAQ Amex College Football on CBS Sports. And how about the finish for Tennessee yesterday?
Unbelievable finish, and I can't wait to see Tim Couch throwing the ball against Tennessee, because he will throw for a lot of yards. That is an amazing quarterback, and Greg McMackin right there, the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, is not worried about amazing quarterbacks. He's more worried about having 11 guys on the field and making sure his defensive tackle isn't dancing and spinning off at the wrong time.
Well, less than a minute to go opening quarter, and the Seahawks do not have timeouts remaining. So file that one away for the latter stages of this first half. They do have Oakland peering at a 3rd down and 9 after the Albert Lewis interception.
And very, very important, though, for one thing, Barrett Robbins, the center, to get a good snap back here. But number 2, you've got to get at least 4 yards on this play. If you don't get 4 on this play, your punter, Leo Araguz, is going to have a short end zone area, a short snap from the center, and one of those situations where bad things happen. Your goal here is not necessarily a first down. You want to get about halfway to that first down.
6 defensive backs in for Seattle. Harvey Williams in the backfield behind Hollis. Hollis steps up and will run. Fumble, hit from behind. Scramble, Willie Williams misses the ball, and we'll see who got it. The Raiders do recover. Michael Sinclair forced the fumble.
And they got 8 yards instead of 4 yards.
Yeah.
There's some good planning, but, you know, remember I said earlier, sometimes you have to know when to tuck it away and not try to make the play. And the defense for Seattle took advantage of Donald Hollis there. That ball was out where it shouldn't be, and Michael Sinclair and Cortez Kennedy knocked that thing loose.
Well, they give Araguz a little time. Galloway is back with Sean Springs. It was Galloway's 56-yard punt return that has accounted for the only score today, and they kick this one away from Galloway and out of bounds.
Very smart. Don't hang it in the middle of the field. Kick away from 84.
Coming Monday on CBS, is Raymond a prisoner in his own marriage? Find out as King of Queens Kevin James drops in on Everybody Loves Raymond. It's all part of Shameless Crossover Monday right here on CBS. John Gruden, 35 years of age in his first season.
He's trying to learn, Vern. He told us how to really conduct himself on the sideline. He's used to being in the box. This guy, the expressions on his face, he looks so pained.
First down and 10. Here's the toss to Ricky Waters, and he finds room down to the 40-yard line. Gain of 8 for Ricky Waters. And that is the end of the first quarter with our score, the Seattle Seahawks 7, Oakland nothing. A 56-yard punt return by Galloway. We'll return right after this message and a word from your local station. Seahawks have scored a first quarter touchdown this season. They are undefeated. When they have not, they've yet to win. And they're up 7-0. Warren Moon has the Seahawks with a second down at the 40-yard line of Oakland. Waters comes up and
play clock expired.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And Vern, so far the problems for the Seahawks have not been physical. They've made some good physical plays, but they've got a severe case of vapor lock going on right now. And the offensive penalty, you look at that. We have the 2 leading offenses in the league in committing penalties, and the majority of those are linemen moving.
Second down and 7 back to the 45. Play fake, good block for Warren Moon. But Lance Johnstone gets up and gets him. And that is Pat Swilling. It was Swilling 56 instead of 51 who got there. And Pat Swilling gets his second sack of the season.
Well, there's a blast out of the pass for you. Pat Swilling, former New Orleans Saint. He and Ricky Jackson terrorized a lot of quarterbacks. And his role in this defense is really to be a mentor to the John Stones and the Russells and guys like that. And he said it's only his second sack, but the contribution Pat Swilling's made off the field with the players has been every bit as important.
Back across the 50 to the 47. Out of the shotgun, Moon, deep left side. And he's got a man open, but it's incomplete. Albert Lewis almost had his second pick.
And that all set up by Lance Johnstone. Got into the backfield and lit Warren Moon up. He could not step into the throw. That causes the weather balloon. And that gives Albert Lewis that shot at it, what looks like could have been a pretty easy interception. Watch Johnstone. And that's the worst place to hit a quarterback from a quarterback's perspective, is having somebody come in low about belt high that buckles him over and can't follow through.
Jeff Fiegels to punt. Desmond Howard grabs it at the 12, avoids the tackle, and has some room. Down at the 28. A 41-yard punt, 16 on the return, and Desmond Howard gets a little conversational as we go to break. On Joey Galloway's 56-yard punt return, but really some lost opportunities here for Seattle.
So far, it's all about defense. You know, the Raiders' defense is making the plays when they have to, and Seattle has just been making the vapor lock kind of brain cramp kind of mistakes.
Handoff Donald Hollis to Napoleon Kaufman on first down and 10. And Chad Brown makes the tackle, number 94.
Napoleon Kaufman, the ball carrier, stopped by Chad Brown.
Ricky Dudley is a receiver that, when the last time these two teams played, was a factor. And last week, in the game the Raiders played against Baltimore, he was a factor. He needs to open the middle of the field up for this team.
Here's the blitz, and they get to Hollis. He is nailed at the 21-yard line. Chad Brown, number 94.
Well, now you're going to get a little bit of a feel of what it's like when a defense is after you. And just about the time you think you get away from something, here comes a tooth check. Tooth fairy. Oh, Chad Brown right underneath the chin strap. Perfect form tackle.
Chad Brown, 6.5 sacks now. Harvey Williams in the backfield behind Donald Hollis on third and 15. Hollis across the middle, right in the hands of Dean Wells. And Wells with one man to help him block left side. Dean Wells to the 10-yard line. His first interception of the season, Harvey Williams catches up to him. A 25-yard return.
Well, we talked about a little earlier, Vern. You know, sometimes John Gruden knows his quarterback, Donald Hollis, will make a couple of plays, because the only reaction you can have is, what was he thinking? Because why do you throw the ball in the middle of the field right there? It wasn't really because he was getting plastered and didn't have some protection. Look at the protection. Daniels being blocked really well by Mo Collins. He gets hit late by Sinclair, but that's another one of those brain cramps.
Dean Wells' first pick of 1998, first down just outside the 10. Moon into the flat, low, but picked up by Waters. And Ricky Waters out of bounds at the 6.
What kind of a catch was that?
Yes.
That was fabulous, because that ball goes through the arms of the defender, looked to be tipped and kind of started rotating sideways when it happened. And when Grady Jackson catches a little piece of this, watch the rotation and the flight on the ball. Grady Jackson right there. John Stone gets a little piece of the ball, but good concentration by Ricky Waters. The ball originally was going to hit him numbers high. See it start spinning, catches it down low. Good job.
Galloway in motion on 2nd down. Now comes back to the right. Waters cuts up the middle. And he's got the ball to the 3-yard line. Exasperated. He thought he might get in.
Well, that's the kind of runner Ricky Waters is, though, and that's why you sign a guy and give him the money this team gave him from Philadelphia. Is he's a guy, he's a money guy. You get him in the red zone, he wants the ball. You give him the ball, he wants 6 points. He's a bigger, mature, more powerful running back than he was with San Francisco when he entered the league.
54 yards on 7 carries so far. In the red zone, Seattle has not been outstanding. Handoff. Whoa! Waters slipped and squirms forward, but I think he's going to come up short, and that will lead to a field goal attempt. Todd Peterson's going to come on and try for 3.
Yeah, one thing I have a hard time understanding sometimes, and it really happened when I was playing, is when you throw the ball and you're wide open and you make the big plays going down the field, why do you suddenly start pounding people between the eyes when you can hit them on the outside and hurt them worse?
Peterson has missed only 3 this season. This will be from 22 yards out. Well, that's going to be a disappointing 3 points for the Seattle Seahawks, and John Gruden not all that unhappy. After the interception, gave them the ball at the 10. Hawks up by 10 now. Todd Peterson getting ready to kick off after hammering home the 22-yard field goal.
But any questions really about what's wrong with the Raiders offense is pretty easily answered when you figure Napoleon Kaufman has 6 carries for -5 yards.
Donald Hollis has been sacked twice and thrown a pick. Here's Peterson. Howard and Branch are deep, and this will be Calvin Branch at the 8-yard line. Near side, gets a block, and is out to the 35 before he's tackled. Gary Joseph makes the stop. Now let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, Jeff George is dressed as a 3rd quarterback today, but John Gruden told me his status is highly questionable for even next week. George came back quickly from the pulled groin that was expected to keep him out 4 to 6 weeks and re-injured it last week. One source close to the team speculates that George could be out for the season, although George has said he's better now than he was after the original injury. Back upstairs to you.
All right, and we have Jeff George's injury. It happened a game that we broadcast in Arizona.
Hey, just sort of running to the right and suddenly seizes up. It's a groin injury. It's a deep tissue injury way down up deep in that groin, and it's going to last the rest of this year.
Meanwhile, Sean Springs is down. We'll be back. Sean Springs flipped on the punt return or the kickoff return, but got up and walked off unaided.
Well, his fellow Buckeye from Ohio State, Ricky Dudley, rocked his proverbial world. Boy, he just lit him up. He was a decleater. You're running full speed, your head's in the clouds and your feet are on the ground, and suddenly they change places.
Ricky Dudley, who had a huge game offensively last week in Baltimore, 6 catches for 105, and you think they need to get him involved here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think tight ends need to be more involved, period, in the NFL, because, you know, Ricky Dudley, 105 yards last week, was only the 2nd tight end in the NFL this year to get over 100 yards receiving. And you look at what the difference has been with him and Donald Hollis. He can be a safety valve. He can be a security blanket, and Donald Hollis has to use him that way.
Jermaine Williams in the backfield now, fullback for the Raiders. Handoff goes to Kaufman, his best run of the day. And Fred Thomas, who has taken Sean Springs' place, makes the tackle. The NFL comes alive on CBS Sportsline. Log on to the Players Chat Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. Chat live with the Jaguars quarterback Mark Brunell at cbs.sportsline.com, on the web, and AOL. 2nd down and 2 after Kaufman's 8-yard gain. And this is the best starting position for the Raiders today. Tim Brown, stutter step, Hollis with a play fake, He'll flip it out, incomplete for Jermaine Williams, number 34, who was on the field in place of John Ritchie.
We talked about Sean Springs getting lit up on that punt. What happens then is that defensive coordinator Greg McMackin gets softer on defense. Look at what happens here. Look at the room in here. Look at the room in here. What you're saying this defense is, we're going to blitz you. We're coming after your quarterback, but nobody's getting behind us. I think the Raiders wanted to go deep, but that defense just wouldn't let them.
Oakland still looking for its first third down conversion. They're 0 for 5. Here's Hollis, left side, tipped and almost intercepted again. Chad Brown, number 94, got a hand on it, and a rough start for Donald Hollis.
Well, remember, he does have a veteran in Wade Wilson sitting on the bench behind him. If things were to really keep going not too well for Donald Hollis, he's got his receiver, Ricky Dudley, has already broken in, and Chad Brown just gets that hand on the ball to knock it away. It was not a very well-timed pass.
Leo Aragou's back to punt. Joey Galloway waits for it. He's returned one for a touchdown this afternoon. And this one, oh gosh, what a terrific effort.
Yeah, but it was a terrific effort, but he went out of bounds first, and he was the first guy to touch the ball. That's illegal. Kenny Shedd, the wide receiver, was out of bounds, runs in, and he's the first guy to touch the ball. That's why the penalty's on the ground.
Sean Springs enjoying a little chat with the guys in the end zone as he comes off the field. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya while we have a conversation.
Well, Vern, Sean Springs has been diagnosed with a neck strain. He's leaving the field to get x-rays. His return is questionable. Seattle trainers were looking at the back part of that neck, so that's the portion that's strained. That's why he's leaving the field. And again, his return is questionable. We'll keep you posted.
Well, we have concluded the conversation, and here's the
illegal touch. Number 84, kicking team. Player went out of bounds, came back in bounds, and was the first player to touch the ball. Be a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Look at the look on that face. John Gruden just sort of, now what the, I mean, he looks like a guy that needs an explanation. You know, when he coaches for a couple more years, people are going to learn to actually give him those. But you notice how lonely he is on the sidelines?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see players go out of their way to get up in John Gruden's face. I mean, the only reason the guy's carrying his cord is near him is because he has to be, because he's carrying the cord. There's no coaches. There's no players. I mean, he's a little bit on the intense side. They just want to get their heads bit off.
So we bring it back and do it again. Leo Aragou, Joey Galloway. Galloway, 4 punt returns for touchdowns in his career. 1 this afternoon. Flag down. Galloway waves the crowd away. And this one, another flag.
Oh, you don't think it could happen twice in a row, do you?
I think so, yes.
Illegal touch. Out of bounds, came in, touched the ball. But the one back here by the line of scrimmage was the original one. So there's 2 flags down. Yeah, we need an official. We need a traffic cop.
Couple of penalties against the Raiders.
Out of bounds. Kenny Shedd, 84, goes out.
Offsides. Number 84. Line up in the neutral zone.
To touch it. He didn't want to touch it. But the first one to touch it was Kenny Shedd.
Number 84 going out of bounds and coming back in to be the first one to touch the ball. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
But now this is the type of Raider mistakes football that we've seen in the past from these football teams. We just can't have that from the Raiders' standpoint if they want to be the improving type of team. Good teams don't make these mistakes. And Kenny Shedd was not trying to touch that ball, but if you're in that area and the ball touches you, it's still your fault.
Well, a double dip for Oakland. And it cost him 5. Here's Aragoose. And Galloway. At the 16. At the 18. Tackle made by, of course, Kenny Shedd.
It was a great job of covering that punt by a guy that had made a couple of mistakes.
Mid-afternoon here in November in Oakland, California. And the Seattle Seahawks enjoying their walk in the sun thus far as they're up 10-0. 56-yard punt returned by Joey Galloway and a short field goal following a Dean Wells interception. First down, Warren Moon hands it off to Waters. He's got a lot of room at right tackle and finds Marquise Walker, number 38, a gain of 8.
It was a good job by Joey Galloway, lined up at the right flank along with Mike Pritchard, of just sort of screening a block. You know, there's blockers and there's screeners, and right here Marquise Walker, 38, with his back to you there, is not being blocked. He's just sort of being harassed and nagged.
Second down and 2. Toss, Waters in trouble. Marquise Walker with the penetration, and then Lance Johnstone catches up and forces him out of bounds.
Well, that's no scat back. You get up on that guy, you can't just say, okay, Ricky Waters is carrying the ball, I'm just going to grab a little jersey, and that should be able to bring him down. You get your hands on Ricky Waters, you better finish the deal, because he's strong enough now to just run right through you. Now look what happens down below to a guy like Darrell Russell. First they block down, then they try to chop block you with House Ballard, then you try to run down, and then you get tripped.
Yep.
Life's not fair inside sometimes.
First down and 10. Waters did pick up the first down. Galloway is in motion and Moon back. Into the right flat for Galloway. Overthrown, incomplete. It will be second down and 10.
It really strikes me how much respect for a rookie Charles Woodson gets at times, you know, from offenses. When you got a Joey Galloway and you're saying, gee, I'm going to light people up and I'm going to run him by this guy or that guy, and Charles Woodson in half a season has managed to prove to people that he is not the guy to pick on this Raiders defense.
Tim Brown watches his young teammate. Second down and 10. Play fake. Moon gets a good block, comes right side, and it's dropped by McKnight. That's why he spent time on the bench. He dropped some early, and then the pattern persisted.
Well, and he did a good job of pressing Charles Woodson up the field, coming back. Warren Moon put the ball where it needed to be, and you know that gets you a seat on the bench. We don't have pine anymore in the NFL. They're aluminum seats, but you will get some aluminum splinters in your backside catching the ball or not catching the ball like that.
Broussard in the backfield. Seahawks operate out of the shotgun. Rush from the outside. They go across the middle and get Broussard dropping the ball. It will be fourth down. So back-to-back drops by the receivers, and Warren Moon and the Seahawk offense head to the bench.
And it's really an advantage the offense that Seattle has in this game. Donald Hollis is not figured to be a real high-powered guy. The high-powered offense is on Seattle's side, and Seattle right now is not making the plays. Part of that's Seattle, part of that's the Oakland defense.
Desmond Howard waits for Jeff Fiegel's punt. And he will take this one at the 16-yard line. Avoids the first man down, hurdles, and is dropped at the 33. 50-yard punt, 17 on the return. And Donald Hollis getting ready to come back on the field, hoping that his lot improves.
Well, he's just sort of saying things have got to get better because they have been bad. Doesn't put it away. Cortez Kennedy strips them. They still recover that ball. What happens now? You get your teeth checked right there by Chad Brown. And then later on, I called it a hull play, and that's all I can tell you is, huh? What was he thinking?
Donald Hollis back in now. Has Jet in motion and flags. This could be another offensive penalty against the Raiders.
Little false start, I think, on Derek Brown, the left tight end, lined up number 86.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 86 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
14 penalties last week in the loss at Baltimore. That's the 4th penalty accepted this afternoon.
You look at John Gruden, that kind of performance penalty-wise, and key penalties that just sort of disrupt your pace will put a furrow in your brow.
Across the middle, Derek Brown makes the catch, the second tight end, and he gets about 4 of the 5 he's just cost the team back.
I'll tell you what, one thing. You better not wave that ball around like that in front of this defense very often. When he caught that ball was way out away from his body like he's trying to make something happen. And Sam Adams or Chad Brown or Dean Wells or somebody's going to strip that thing away if it happens.
Well, Derek Brown's first catch of the season, and it's 2nd down and 9. 2nd and 9. Hollis across the middle. Dudley, there he is. All the way to the 47-yard line. Darrell Williams.
And that's the difference with a Ricky Dudley. A lot of tight ends can get in the slot. A lot of tight ends can catch the little flare pass. Here's a tight end with his natural ability that threatens the middle to deep part of the field. Almost unlike any other tight end besides maybe a Shannon Sharp, this guy can stretch the defense.
Double tight end set again. Jet goes wide right. The handoff, Kaufman. And he runs immediately into Chad Brown, number 94. That's a gain of about 3 feet.
Chad Brown came to play today.
Yep, I think so.
Chad Brown, I think, on the sideline and in those huddles is chewing a little backside, getting people fired up. You know, he challenged the football team last week, said, hey, look, this isn't an individual thing. We've all got to get our tails in gear, including Coach Erickson. And the team did. But they have to keep getting chewed on, I think, to keep those tails in gear.
Is that the term that was used?
Roughly.
Here's Hollis. Comes back left side. Derek Brown gets his 2nd catch. Chad Brown gets another tackle. But forward progress. Chad Brown says nobody had blown the whistle. Darrell Williams.
Chad Brown looks like Jesse Ventura on the pregame show today, giving it a little WCW, talking his smack to the official. But a nice play again by Chad Brown. It's his job, get in the flat. And there's an in spite of play. You know, in spite of tripping, in spite of almost going down on his face, he still finds a way to make the play. And one way or the other, he's making this play, dang it. That is being persistent.
3rd and 1. Harvey Williams, they barely got the ball. He does turn the corner. And he's got a 1st down at the 26. Hollis had to really reach to get the ball into the stomach of Harvey Williams.
Well, you know, those of us in this business all the time say, boy, Dan Marino looks bad reaching that far. Well, that's as far as Marino's ever had to reach, and that's because Harvey Williams is hitting it and getting it. He knew that play was outside, and he was running to the corner. And Donald Hollis had to play defensive back to try to get to him in time to get him the ball.
Gain of 13 for Williams. He rests Napoleon Kaufman back on the field. Hollis goes deep, flag at the near side, away from the ball.
You got a little duel going on down there with Tim Brown and Willie Williams.
And I think it's going to be on Tim Brown. Well, it was 2 weeks ago that Tim Brown. Here's the call from Tom White.
Personal foul. Shot to the head. Number 81. 15 yards. 1st down.
You know, nowadays in football, the matchup between corners and wide receivers is almost like offensive line and defensive line. You see that right arm? I think he missed his head. He hardly got any wood on him on that one. But they're doing arm overs, and they're ripping, and their head slapping. That's all part of the deal now. Corners want to be physical. Tim Brown will be physical back.
1st and 25, left side screen pass to Kaufman. Wisniewski helps with a block. Kaufman with a little speed, and a fumble is recovered by the Seahawks at the 5-yard line. Bellamy gets it after Dean Wells caused it.
Dean Wells forcing the fumble. Fumble is recovered by James.
Dean Wells had an interception a moment ago, and now he forces the fumble.
Not much attack in this Seattle Seahawks defense. A lot of standing around and bad effort. That's why he gets down there. But Dean Wells causes the play. And how long have you heard the term, when something good's happening, don't make something bad happening with not concentrating? And I tell you, that was drilled into my head offensively, playing under Bill Walsh and some other coaches, and that's just not concentrating on the football.
Bellamy recovered it after Wells caused it, and the Seahawks preserved their 10-point lead with 5:19 to go in the half. Waters caught behind the line and dropped it to 2 by Darrell Russell.
Told you earlier, this guy's a disruptor. And when you get early in the week, your offensive lineman, Darrell Russell, working right there over the nose, and you look at that film the first time on Wednesday, and you look at the stats, you know if you got Darrell Russell, you got an all-day suckers.
Second and 13, Waters dropped again. This time by Greg Beaker, the middle linebacker, number 54.
Remember what we said earlier, Vern, that heart of the defense with Grady Jackson and Darrell Russell is now the future. And that's what you're going to get up front. You got Darrell Russell at 320. You've got Grady Jackson at about 320, 330. You've got some serious ballast. And you got to look somewhere else to run the ball if you're Seattle right now.
Third and 13, Broussard in the backfield. Moon deep left side for Galloway. Man coverage picked off by Eric Allen. Allen still has it. He's at the 40.
Eric Allen's 44th interception of his career is set up right there just by a deep attempt by Warren Moon that was nowhere near Joey Galloway. Eric Allen still on the ground, but how is Galloway supposed to run by a quality corner like Eric Allen when he's got a 7-8 yard pad? Not a chance. And Allen clearly was the only guy out there who had a good chance of catching the ball. Did a little dance there. Galloway tried to make the tackle, but on this return, something happens near the end because Eric Allen's still down.
And yet a second look. Excuse me, Randy.
You know, Vern, Tim Brown told us that Charles Woodson was the most offensive-minded cornerback he's ever seen. There's a great job of a cornerback being offensive-minded, catching that over-the-shoulder shot.
It would appear to be a knee. Eric Allen with his 5th interception of the season. Both Eric Allen and Albert Lewis with interceptions this afternoon.
And that was coming into this game today.
First down at the 35-yard line. 10-0. Seattle leads it. Hollis deep in the middle for Dudley. Just a little too high. Coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert. Bring you up today on everything that's happening around the league today. Coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report.
The cornerbacks of this defense really are the cornerstones. You look at the cornerbacks and the defensive tackles are really the solid part of this defense for Willie Shaw.
Second down and 10. Hollis across the middle again. Man open at the 18-yard line. Tim Brown, number 81. That's another first down for Oakland, a gain of 16.
That's a good example of Donald Hollis really recovering. You know, this guy is resilient. He said, you know, my father-in-law let me know that, you know, everything is a bonus at this point. And that's the way he's playing because he's made the mistakes. They haven't gone well. What's he do? He just steps up in a big situation like this, drills the ball right down the field, makes a big play.
Double tight end set on first down. Deep handoff. No, play fake. Hollis goes deep for Jet. Got it. Dropped it.
was an excellent play fake there to Napoleon Kaufman. That's almost exactly the one that Donald Hollis fell down trying to get that ball to Harvey Williams. Watch it drop right in over his shoulder. Textbook. Right off the fingertips. We talked about McKnight for Seattle not catching the ones he should have caught. James Jett knows that was 6 points he just gave up.
Second down and 10. 10-0 Seattle, 3:05 to go. Play fake again. Hollis comes to his left, pulls up. Sliding reception, no, incomplete. Hit the ground first. Intended for Derek Brown. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Incomplete, intended for Derek Brown.
Oh, they're into harder pass to throw, and just about any quarterback will tell you when you're running that hard to your left, trying to throw that ball back over the middle of the field or to your right. That's timing. That is awfully tough. And Hollis got that ball to Brown. Brown couldn't get it enough to make it a catch, but Hollis got it to where it needed to be.
Thought he had it. 3rd and 10.
Should have had it.
Hollis back. Has to get rid of it quickly. Harvey Williams short of the first down at the 12. So that's going to bring the field goal unit on as Dean Wells prevents further advance by Harvey Williams.
But Harvey Williams sometimes when he catches the ball, when he runs to the ball, kind of scares me because he tends to kind of scrunch up and duck his head when he goes into piles. You know, I know it's an awful long in your career to suddenly change things, but I'd look into that changing because that can be kind of hazardous physically.
Greg Davis tries to get the Raiders on the board. He is 12 of 17 for the season. This one from 30 yards out. Adam True will snap it back. Whoa! From 30, he pulls it.
Well, Adam was True and Davis was goofy.
So Jett drops it in the end zone. Adam True snaps it back accurately, and just a bad kick.
Really the hardest part sometimes is when the ball's snapped back, what the holder does with the ball. Does he spin the laces right? Does he have him out of the way? That's textbook. There is nothing in the way. It's a nice job by the holder.
And after the miss, Seattle gets the ball at the 20-yard line. Now, if you're an offensive lineman, running back, what are you thinking?
No points off turnovers. If I'm on defense, I'm getting in the offense's face and saying, what do we have to do for you guys? Score for you?
Flag is down, dead ball foul, so bring this one back. Looks like Walter Jones moved at left tackle. Now you get the Eric Allen interception. Here's Tom White.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 71 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You know, Dennis Erickson's football team absolutely has to win this game. They're 5-4. Tell you, John Gruden's football team has to win this game. They got the Denver Broncos next week. They think they want to be a playoff team. They're a playoff team in the league in the last 10 years plays this kind of football.
1st and 10. We'll try it again. 1st and 15, rather. Draw play to Waters, who is corralled behind the line by Greg Biekert and Lance Johnstone. So the last couple of carries for Ricky Waters uneventful. We have reached the 2-minute warning in Oakland. Seattle is up 10-0. It was almost 10-3. Just moments ago, Eric Allen with his 5th interception of 1998. At the end of the play, he was injured. And we've got an update now from Michelle Tafoya.
Well, yeah, Vern, he spent a few minutes lying on the sideline training table, being surrounded by concerned friends and trainers and obviously teammates. Richard Harvey, one of the linebackers who spotted some of his friends and family members up in the sidelines, or in the stands rather, signaled to them that he's fine, but he has left the field for extra examination on that left knee, Vern.
All right, Michelle, thank you. And Waters slips again and is down. Keep in mind now the Seahawks do not have timeouts left. They used them all in the first quarter, and Oakland uses one here to stop the clock and force a 3rd down. And coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent, and George. Scores and highlights from around the NFL this afternoon. A couple of upsets. And how about them Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, unbelievable beating San Francisco like that. And yeah, Brent and George, I'm sure you have some sort of comments about that. And you know, if I'm George Seifert, as many times as he's been mentioned as the next head coach here, the next head coach there. I mean, this is one of the teams, the Seattle Seahawks. People think George Seifert's going to be the head coach with them next year. You watch this as maybe a head coach there. You go, God,
George is clearing his throat for his no comment right now.
No comment.
Yeah.
That's right. He won't say ignorant a coach. He's going to say, "Oh, they got good fishing up there."
3rd and 17. Water slips again. Field known to be that slippery.
Well, this field's a lot like Candlestick Park.
Right.
You know, it's not as low as Candlestick Park is, but you go back to the good old days of, Stabler and Blanda and all that.
Well, then
people
they
are
used to
slipping
water
and
it.
sliding. Yeah, but it was still slipping and sliding. It's not easy.
And the Oakland Raiders used their second timeout to stop the clock.
Plenty of time here for this Raiders offense when they get the ball back.
Well, we've got a doubleheader for you next Sunday on CBS. Game 1, most of you will see Seattle and Dallas or Jacksonville, Pittsburgh. A couple of significant games, and then the second game, these Raiders go into Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos, and others will see Kansas City against San Diego. On 4th down, Jeff Fiegels to punt. Desmond Howard waits at his own 40-yard line. Drifts back and takes it at the 37 to the 45-50. Got some room. He's got to beat Fiegels. There are no flags. Desmond Howard, touchdown. He's not really excelled since he came here from Green Bay.
He now officially has.
Yes. 63 yards.
2 biggest plays of the game. That punt return and Joey Galloway's earlier. That's been most of the offense.
Greg Davis gets the extra point.
You saw Galloway earlier on that return just use pure speed. You know what this is? It's a couple of good blocks, one questionable one by Kenny Shedd there, but it's a lot of pure speed by Desmond Howard. Straight up the field, going to the path of least resistance, and scoring what was really looked like an easy punt return touchdown. You can't coach this, Vern. These guys are born. These are people you have to find because the average player doesn't have the instincts these great punt returners do.
Averaging 8.7 yards per return this season. His longest previous had been 42 yards, and this one 63 for the touch. That man can appreciate it. Galloway had one of 56 yards. In his career, that's number 5 for Desmond Howard. And it's a 3-point game with 90 seconds to go in the half. I'm on Green and Kerry Joseph for the deep man. This will be Green, the rookie, at the 7-yard line. And he gets it out to the 27-yard line. Tackle made by Louis Riddick.
Last time we saw Ricky Waters, he was slipping and sliding on the field. You saw he immediately went over to the sideline and looked like he had his feet up in the air there. I guarantee you they were changing the cleats in the bottom of those shoes to the longer anywhere from a 5/8 to a 3/4 inch type cleat to give them better traction.
No timeouts left for Seattle. Their lead has been shaved to 3. Oakland has 1 timeout remaining. Moon hit as he lets it go. Could be a fumble. No. It's an incomplete pass. Tom White, very quick and very authoritative in saying no. He had forward motion. Lance Johnstone got there. Willie Shaw pleading the case of the defense.
The way that pocket was collapsing around Warren Moon, you have to get claustrophobic. Is it going forward?
Oh.
I think he knocked that out as it was going back. He was cocking it back to throw. But that's close enough. We have the advantage of doing that in slow motion. The official was right there, and Tom White made a very decisive call.
Toss to Waters going left. Couple of yards. Let's look at the attempted pass from Warren Moon one more time.
You have to watch the arm motion. That ball's coming out before that thing's going forward. Warren Moon and the Seattle Seahawks got a break.
Oakland has called timeout. And as we go to halftime shortly, keep in mind the memory of the missed field goal, Greg Davis, from 30 yards away.
Well, it's good snap, good solid hold we showed you. And Greg Davis does what golfers all over America do on occasion. He just sort of pulled it.
The difference in the game, 3 points. It'll be 3rd down when we resume play. Warren Moon has missed his last 5 passes now, including that pass or no pass.
Well, from an offensive standpoint, this first half has been an absolute ugly fest.
3rd and 10. Keep it on the ground. Give it to Ricky Waters. Waters stopped at the 36-yard line. 1 minute to go. James Trapp and Charles Woodson get together defensively. Timeouts are gone. Desmond Howard goes back, hoping he has another one left in the arsenal.
They see Ricky Waters yelling and screaming with the helmet off on the way to the sideline there. Yeah, that's the emotion of a Ricky Waters, but I'd keep that hat on until I got to the sideline next time if I was him. That's begging for a foul.
Snap back for Jeff Feagles. Howard at the 17. Flag is down. Another flag is down, and so is Desmond Howard. Hillary Butler made the tackle.
Hillary Butler with the tackle. Penalty flag in the field.
I think we're going to have kind of a high mass finish here. A lot of kneeling this half.
Oh, you mean what Arkansas tried to do yesterday against Tennessee, or should have. Here's Tom White.
Illegal block, number 27. During the return, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Watch from the left-hand side of the screen. The body's coming by. That's a heck of a takedown. See, Willie Williams basically had the position, was setting up to break down for the tackle, and was victimized.
Calvin Branch called for the foul. 1st down. Here's a knee. So we have reached the end of the first 2 quarters of play. Joey Galloway and Desmond Howard, the stars thus far. It's the end of the half. The score 10-0. Coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert. We'll have all the scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. similarity in how these things have developed today with the 2 punt returns for touchdowns.
Those have been the most exciting things to happen, and really what we've seen is 2 football teams sort of self-destructing at bad times, especially offensively. They've gotten offensive plays and they've gotten offensive yards, but it's been the penalties that have made things look bad, and it's been the great punt returns, first by Joey Galloway, just blazing speed for this return. Not many blocks, but all kinds of speed.
Galloway got one from 56, and then Desmond Howard, after the score had gone to 10-0, countered with a 63-yard punt return. So it's 10-7, and let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Vern, at halftime, Dennis Erickson told me his team moved the ball well in the first quarter, not in the second quarter. He's happy with his defense, unhappy at the moment with his special teams, and wants more consistency from his offense. John Gruden told his team, this is the same team we played 2 weeks ago. Same halftime score. We need to make some plays and create the same outcome, guys.
Absolutely right, those comments, Michelle. You know, John Gruden's looking at a situation where the problem is you turn the ball over, you're going to lose this game. That's what happened to Seattle last time up there in the Kingdome. And the penalties will come back to haunt Dennis Erickson and his football team if they keep up.
Dennis Erickson worried about the lack of offensive productivity in the second quarter. His team had 17 yards offense.
Well, with those series of turnovers, Vern, they also spent an awful lot of that second quarter backed up against the goal line.
10-7 as we get set for the start of the third. Kerry Joseph and Amon Green are the 2 deep men. Amon Green at the 10. 30. And down at the 36-yard line, tackle made by James Folston, number 55. Well, statistically, how did it break out at halftime?
And not bad, 161, 144. That's not terrible offense. The problem really has been, in my mind, it has been A, the turnovers, you see 2 apiece, and B, the penalties. False starts, illegal touches, holds. It's really been bad. Very undisciplined football. The team that cures it wins this game.
First down 10, Seattle. Warren Moon started well, finished poorly. Finds his receiver on first down. That's out to the 46-yard line. Joey Galloway with the grab. Gain of 11. Warren Boone intercepted twice in the first half.
Well, and this one's just a weather balloon. That's wishing and hoping that nobody's there, but you got Albert Lewis shows up, and Eric Allen intercepts that one as he catches it over his shoulder, and later on that return, Eric Allen twisted his knee up.
7 of 16 for Warren Moon, under 100 yards. First down and 10. Hand off to Waters. Contact made behind the line of scrimmage, and Ricky Waters gets to the 50-yard line. Richard Harvey, number 52, makes the stop.
You know, both these defenses have basically told the quarterbacks, you know, Donald Hollis and Warren Moon, you were not going long on us. We're not letting you behind us. So what they're left with is going to be the running game and the meat and potatoes. That's running the ball. And you saw Grady Jackson there, number 90. That's a big old load of meat and potatoes inside to stop you from running the ball.
Waters tries to get outside on 2nd and 6. He picks up a couple. Tackle made by Marquise Walker, number 38, and Harvey is there again, number 52.
It's the enthusiasm and really the way this team plays defense now that makes them so different from last year. Willie Shaw's made a big difference as one of the Raiders is now down on the field. But they do have the emotional edge defensively.
Injured player is Anthony Newman. We'll check after we come back.
Here's Anthony Newman right here. Watch what happens, folks, and it's not pretty. Leg gets trapped underneath Grady Jackson. Gets rolled up.
Newman on the bench, 3rd down and 4. Seattle. Lewis Riddick on the field now for the Raiders. Here's Moon back to throw. Quick read across the middle, intended for Galloway, tipped away by James Trapp, number 37. Well, the Oakland Raiders lead the National Football League in 3rd down defense. They're averaging 25% conversion rate. And so far this afternoon, the Seahawks have drawn the donut. They are 0 for 8. Jeff Eagles on the punt, and Desmond Howard waits for it at the 10-yard line. Vigels kicks it left. Howard waves everybody away, and that one out of bounds, and we'll see where it's ruled out. At the 17, Darrell Russell gets a rest. His offensive mates are on the field. Quarter, Anthony Newman getting some medical attention on the sidelines. Meanwhile, Sean Springs is back on the field now for the Seattle Seahawks at left corner. The toss goes to Napoleon Kaufman, who has had a very difficult afternoon. He picks up a couple across the 21. Dean Wells with the tackle.
Yeah, there's a guy up front for the Oakland Raiders that I think is doing a heck of a job for a young player, and it's the toughest spot, really. If you're a lineman and you want to get thrown to the wolves, be a left tackle in the NFL. Look at Mo Collins here, 79, working out of that three-point stance. Just he has to not so much drill out and drive block as he has to go out to the side. That lateral movement's tough, especially when you're used to backing up and pass block.
Here's Hollis being chased to his right. Lets it go. He's got a man open. Dudley at the 40. Nice throw on the run for Donald Hollis. Darrell Williams makes the tackle of Ricky Dudley, but a gain of 21.
Last week, Donald Hollis against Baltimore did almost the exact same play here. Tried to throw back across his body, trying to get the ball to Tim Brown. In that case, it was a matter of Rod Woodson intercepted it and brought it back for a touchdown. Difference is Hollis doesn't have the pressure. He's got the pass blocking right there from Mo Collins in the offensive line to give him that little extra time.
Gain of 21 and a first down. This time Dean Wells tackles Kaufman behind the line, and he lost a yard.
Hey, it's the one thing you got to like about a guy like Donald Hollis, though, when you talk about a quarterback that's been a backup, is as he's had a chance to play, and the more times he's gotten the reps in practice and the games he's gotten to play, he's learned. He's rarely making the same mistake twice, and that's something I think you look at what John Gruden's looking for in a backup quarterback. I think that's one of the main traits.
Second down and 12 after the 2-yard loss. This is John Ritchie in motion left. Play fake. Hollis bumps, settles for the short man. Kaufman has him running wide open at the 50-yard line and down at the 49. Cortez Kennedy, Jay Bellamy get there defensively, but a gain of 11.
It's great to watch the body language of a quarterback when he drops back the pass, and he seems to be all full of himself and cocked up to just go, I'm going to throw it long, and then have to go, ding. You know, you knew he wanted to drill that one down the field, but a good job of patience, reading the defense and seeing all he really had was that little dump off the Kaufman.
3rd and 1, Tim Brown in motion. Kaufman, or Harvey Williams it is, right up the middle. And that's a first down. Oakland inside the 45. And we've got a fight that's broken out with Michael Sinclair
and Ricky Dudley. It was pretty much a full-fledged, ugly face mask pulling, punch swinging kind of a deal.
Sound like Tom Wolfe. And a man in full. Nice adjectives. Here's Tom White.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 70. Defense. 15 yards. The first down.
Oh.
I don't know. I think Dennis Erickson's got an argument on that one. Because that little experience and dance between Sinclair and Dudley seemed to be two-sided. I was watching the whole thing, and no one got the better part of the other guy, but it was pretty much a case where John Gruden's tight end, Ricky Dudley, had every bit as much of aggressive nature as Michael Sinclair did, and also had a hold of his face mask.
First down at the 28. Harvey Williams back on the field. Here's Hollis. Bumps, goes across the middle. Caught at the 25 by Dudley, who was taken down by Chad Brown. Well, remember 2 weeks ago, it was the wide receiver and the cornerback, Tim Brown and Sean Springs, who had a gentle conversation.
And this is why. This is the new NFL between wide receivers and defensive backs. That's not a fight. I mean, those were big guys. That was Sinclair and that was Dudley. I mean, that's a fight.
Okay.
That looks like a scratching contest.
I knew that would come up. Second down and 6. Reverse? No, they fake the reverse. Harvey Williams bolts up the middle. First and goal, Oakland at the 7. A 17-yard gain as they fake the reverse.
That's the kind of play I'm talking about up front when you get Steve Wisniewski, Barrett Robbins, Derek Graham. Just push and push. Nice seal block on the backside by Lincoln Kennedy. It looks like it's a straight ahead play, folks, but everything's moving one way. You get a seal block by Kennedy, and that's an instant gaping hole for Harvey Williams.
Raiders do have to waste a timeout, however, as they regroup at the 7-yard line.
There's a seal block by Lincoln Kennedy. That's some football.
We play at the Coliseum midway through the third quarter. Key game, both clubs. The Raiders trail by 3. First and goal at the 7. Double tight end set. It'll be Harvey Williams coming right. And stopped for no gain. He might have lost a yard. As Sean Springs came up to help Michael Sinclair and Chad Brown.
Yeah, that's one thing. This is the type of part of the field you have got to see that passion out of the Seattle defense. You've got to see the passion out of the Raiders offensive line. This is not the pretty part of the field. This is the ugly part of the field, and the ugliest guys win.
Dudley tight to the left side. Tim Brown is split left, and Hollis will throw across the middle. Flag is down as the pass was almost picked off.
Hollis's pass incomplete.
That's going to be pass interference.
Penalty flags in the field. Jay Boney on the coverage.
Had holding and interference.
Illegal contact. Number 51, defense, of the half the distance to the goal. The first down. Holding. Number 27, defense. Penalty is declined.
So here's Willie Williams working against Tim Brown. Remember, this holding is declined. It's a lot of holding for an awful lot of nothing.
Penalty called on Anthony Simmons. First and goal. Brown in motion. Harvey Williams slips. Nailed at the 2. Anthony Simmons, number 51, getting the start in place of Darren Smith today.
And that's really the part of the field that, you know, you open yourself up for a young linebacker like that, like Simmons, to get a shot on you if you're Harvey Williams with that hesitation and slip. That little hesitation and slip and loss of balance enabled Anthony Simmons to make that hit and keep him out of the end zone.
Second down and goal. Jet goes wide left. Ritchie in as a fullback in front of Harvey Williams. Handoff Williams. Down at the 1, or just inside. Darrell Williams makes the tackle.
You know, remember last week, Vern, against Baltimore, the Raiders got in this situation. What do they call first play? How about a quarterback sneak? Remember, the ball has to just crease the goal line, just the very front of that white line. They said it didn't get in, and it really, really cost the Raiders the ball game in the end.
10th play of the drive, third and goal. Williams a deep back, and here's Hollis trying it again, and did not score. Checked last week, and they tried the quarterback sneak again.
Yep.
Last week it was denied.
Well, last week the determination and the power was all on the Raiders' side of the ball. Watch the push from the Raiders up front. Initially last week, in and over. Look at the push. This week the push was all on the white side of the line of scrimmage, all on the Seattle Seahawks. Great job inside by that Seattle defense. That's playing ugly with a little passion for Dennis Erickson's D.
Fourth and goal, Hollis play fake. Hollis runs, flag is down, and Hollis is denied.
You're going to get a hold, I think, on a Raiders lineman.
And it could be declined.
Holding against the Raiders.
Holding. Number 76. Penalty is declined. First down.
My goodness, Steve Wisniewski.
Now that's the kind of lift Dennis Erickson's football team needs. Remember, I told you about the passion. There's Wisniewski grabbing and throwing down Chad Brown. That was the penalty. Hold or not. That was a great defensive stand by Greg McMackin's defense. They had that play stuffed.
And how did Dennis Erickson react?
That's not a good look.
Nah, he needs samba lessons. Seattle holds. First down and 10 at the 1. Look at the quarterback.
Look at his face when he got a bad hot dog at halftime.
Yeah, that's a persimmon look. Up the middle waters are Max Strong it is. And Strong, the fullback, out across the 5 to the 7-yard line.
Now that's more ugly football from Seattle. You know, we've had both these teams get a little bit cute at times and have some problems with penalties and execution. And, you know, that Seattle defense in that last series got down, had to stop them, did it with passion and playing ugly. Give your fullback a carry like that and knocks it out from under the goal line. That's pretty ugly also.
Second down and 3. After the Seahawk goal line stand, Galloway in motion. Moon, dead ball foul. Bring it back. And while they sort this out, we'll remind you that Tuesday on CBS, JAG officers fight for justice. This week, one of their own will be accused of a horrible crime. Don't miss the trial of the century, an all-new JAG, Tuesday on CBS. Penalty against Howard Ballard. Motion at right tackle.
Poise, and that's something you don't expect from a veteran like Howard Ballard. All the Super Bowls he's been in. John Gruden's about to chew through that lip.
Moon will throw from the end zone across the middle. Sliding catch is made by Mike Pritchard. And let's check in with Michelle DeFoya.
Well, guys, the Raider defense is hurting. Anthony Newman has a slightly sprained left ankle. The medical staff taped it up, but then took Newman to the locker room for x-rays. Meanwhile, Eric Allen is out for the game after injuring his left knee in the first half. Back upstairs to you.
All right, Michelle. And Sean Springs, who was in the locker room for Seattle with a neck strain, is back and was on the field for the last series.
That last play was right in the area of Marquise Walker, who's in there for Eric Allen on that last long reception by Seattle.
He comes up to play Pritchard close to the line this time. The handoff. Waters nailed. Buried behind the line by Grady Jackson.
Well, maybe doctors are right. Meat and potatoes isn't that good for you. Look at Grady Jackson, left side of your screen, number 90. Just getting in there and groveling. And once he gets done groveling, Ricky Waters doesn't have a chance. That is some good penetration up front by Darrell Russell onside, and backside Grady Jackson just gobbles up Ricky.
Second and 11. 4:28 to go, third quarter. Moon, that one's hit and knocked down. James Harris, number 93, got his hand up.
If there's a part of this Raiders football team you have to say is has the passion, has the want to, it is definitely this defense. And James Harris working right there against Walter Jones. Didn't do bad, didn't get to the quarterback, but he was smart enough to get his hands up there and block that pass.
Third and 11. The Seahawks had yet to convert a third down. Blitz coming. Moon is down. Grady Jackson. It'll be fourth down. We'll go to Jim Nance.
All right, guys. Jermaine Lewis, big touchdown maker for the Ravens this season. 7 touchdowns, averaging 57 yards a touchdown. And just on that note, watch this. Harbaugh goes 58 yards, almost on the average to Lewis for the bomb and the score. And the Ravens now lead. Back to you.
Here's the fourth down punt. Jeff Fiegels. Right side, Desmond Howard says get away from it. Not a particularly effective punt. Worse than that. 27 yards, Jeff Fiegels.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AC Delco Automotive Parts. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it. And by MetLife. Get Met, it pays.
10-7 Seattle, 4:03 to go third quarter. A 27-yard Jeff Fiegels punt. has given the Raiders a first down at the Seattle 40. Last time Oakland had the ball, 82-yard drive. Held the ball for 7 minutes, but wind up denied on 4th down. Here's the reverse to James Jett going left. Derek Brown tries to help with a block, but pretty good job of containment. And Matt LeBounty, Willie Williams make the tackle.
That was great by LeBounty, because you see what he did out there. He kept the corner. He didn't let anything get outside him. And on the left side, Matt LeBounty is working right there against Derek Brown. Right here. Look at LeBounty. See, he turns it back inside. Don't let him have the corner. That is good, disciplined football by Matt LeBounty, saving a big play.
2nd down and 8. Tim Brown starts in motion. Donald Hollis pumps, fires it, intercepted by Sean Springs. He threw it right to Sean Springs. And Springs out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
Sean Springs must keep videotapes of Deion Sanders at home and watch him, because he's doing a good little Deion light right now. Kind of an early sniff and a late sniff. Early sniff, Chad Brown. He was too early for the interception. Late sniff goes to Sean Springs. Read those eyes perfectly of Hollis to get that pick.
First down, Warren Moon and the Seattle offense. Quick toss right side of the tight end. Christian Fourier makes the grab.
And what really gave Sean Springs the advantage is watch Donald Hollis look around the defense after he takes the snap and go through his progression. 1, 2, safety. Where's my tight end? There he is. Wrong guy. Good thought. Wrong guy.
2nd down and 1. Handoff. Waters struggles for the first down, and this will be close with the second effort. How about this? Warren Moon is going to make an acute right from Edmonton into Canton, Ohio, and the Hall of Fame when it's done 5 years after he retires. He's now gone over 70,000 yards passing.
See the 21,228?
Right.
Now, if you use the Canadian dollar to the American dollar conversion rate, I said 65 cents.
Right.
So that converts out to about 13,000.
Okay.
And some change.
Okay.
You add that onto his NFL yards, he's still over 60,000 yards. He's still the all-time. You know, whether it was ignorance or whether it was worse, something kept Warren Moon out of the NFL earlier in his career. But this guy is the best thrower of the football we've seen to get the least amount of attention. I mean, last 20 years, nobody talks about Warren Moon. They talk about Dan Marino and John Elway. Right.
And he is tied for touchdown passes with 287 with Elway. Most of those have come after he was 30 years of age. There's the handoff to Waters on first down and 10. Saturday on CBS, how can you make TV's #1 new drama even better? Add Arsenio Hall, it says here. Arsenio Hall teams up with Sammo Hung on an all-new episode of Martial Law Saturday on CBS.
Arsenio Hall doing martial arts. I predict an early pulled muscle.
I may have to delay dinner for that.
Right? That's going to be fun.
2nd and 10. Moon out of the shotgun, pumps, pulls up, down. That'll go as a sack as Darrell Russell got there.
Man, these two defenses, Vern, are just bringing it. Look at Darrell Russell crawling backwards. Darrell Russell and his running buddy next to him, Grady Jackson, number 90. Right here, Jackson and Russell. Watch the inside push. You got the blitz by Harvey. Warren Moon thinks he's got somewhere to go, but there's a monster waiting for him, and his name is Darrell Russell.
3rd sack for Oakland. It's 3rd and 12. Seahawks still have drawn the donut on 3rd down conversions. Here comes the blitz. Moon goes deep and overthrows his intended receiver, James McKnight. Woodson defending. I don't know. Think it should have been caught?
I think it's a little high.
Okay.
You know, Derek, look, you got the pad, so McKnight's got to run the pattern, knowing the defensive back will have the jump in the edge. You know, Warren Moon will probably point out at that point that, you know, I threw that high, but if you can get one hand to it, why can't you get two hands to it?
Jeff Eagles, 29-yard punt, or 27 last time out. Tries to keep this one away from Howard, and as a result, it sails over his head into the end zone. That will be a touchback. Coming up tomorrow on CBS, it is Shameless Crossover Monday. The stars of CBS Mondays show up on each other's shows, beginning with Cosby, followed by the King of Queens, Everybody Loves Raymond, Becker, and L.A. Doctors. That's tomorrow right here on CBS. Joey Galloway, 56-yard punt return for a touchdown to open the scoring back in the first quarter. First down and 10. And the handoff to Kaufman, who tries to bounce it outside. Darrell Williams catches up after Willie Williams, number 27, just missed him.
These two defenses have taken this football game over in the second half. And we saw a lot of mistakes offensively and some kind of dumb plays early in this football game. But Dean Wells and this Seahawk defense has already got a goal line stand to their credit. Cortez Kennedy's doing a good job up front stuffing people. And Darrell Russell and that Raider defense has got Moon going nowhere.
Hollis back to throw. He's been picked off twice in the game. Finds this one over the head of Kaufman on the run out to the left side. And Kaufman points at the sun, or
yeah, well, that's his story, and he's sticking to it.
Right.
So look at James Jett. He's running down inside. Kaufman's going to the outside. Now there's a quick conversation like, what are you doing here? Now maybe the sun gets in his eyes. You know, maybe it does. If I had to go to an excuse, I'd go to that one.
Okay. Here's Hollis back on third down. Trap, caught, dropped.
Chad Brown got back there. Chad Brown is having another one of those football games today, ladies and gentlemen. Last week against Kansas City, he lit the Chiefs up, and right now Chad Brown and this defense are just completely stuffing everything that the Raiders want to do.
Chad Brown's second sack today. And as the clock winds down, the final 7 seconds of the third quarter will unravel before we snap the football again.
At the end of the third quarter.
So that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Seattle leading 10-7. Will return right after this message and a word from your local stations. We get started for the fourth quarter. Vern Lundquist, Randy Cross, Michelle Tafoya, 10-7. And on fourth down, Leo Araguz back to punt. Joey Galloway grabs it at the 34-yard line, comes right and is out of bounds. A flag thrown from across the field. 46-yard punt and 11 on the return if it stands, but there will be a penalty here.
The illegal use of hands. That usually means something in the face mask or a push in the back with one of those hands.
Against the Seahawks.
Illegal block. Number 22 during the return. 10-yard penalty. That'll be a first down. Timeout.
Fred Thomas guilty of the foul. Seahawks lead by 3. Seahawks hang on to a 3-point lead, 10-7. Vern Lundquist, Randy Cross. Very important game, just to reiterate that fact.
Oh, absolutely. You have to have 10 wins for the playoffs this year. Both these teams think they're playoff teams.
Warren Moon on first down and 10 gets it to Mike Pritchard, number 85, and that's a gain of 2. Just a recap for you, Joey Galloway returned to punt. 56 yards for a touchdown to give Seahawks a 7-0 lead. Then they got a Todd Peterson field goal to make it 10-0. Desmond Howard returned to punt 63 yards, 10-7 at the half. Significant goal line stand in the third quarter by Seattle, so that's where we are at 10-7. Moon got a man. James McKnight tackled by Marquise Walker. McKnight, a 27-yard gain.
Well, if you want the guy to make a catch for you, this is the time to do it. I mean, he's dropped a couple today that were sort of questionable to ones he absolutely should have had. But on this play here, Warren Moon, just as the receiver McKnight clears the linebacker in that zone, that ball is zipping into McKnight. Good pass and good execution.
And a first down 10 at the 48-yard line. They hand it off and do nothing with it. Ricky Waters stopped by Lewis Riddick, number 41. And Grady Jackson.
Grady Jackson again, Vern. I mean, Grady Jackson and this entire Raiders defense has been tough all year long. One touchdown in the fourth quarter of a football game.
Stop for okay.
No gain, second down and 10.
Second and 10. Remaining at
blitz. Moon, right side, McKnight, and again, you think he should have had that one.
This defense, though, has really been the difference here in Oakland. As you've seen today, it's the reason the Raiders are in this football game, because the offense and Donald Hollis haven't done that much. And Willie Shaw, their new coordinator, here's the difference they've made. I mean, last year, 30th, 30th, and 30th in the three major categories.
Third and 10 here. Seattle 0 for 10 on third down conversions. Moon has to scramble. And he finds the 320 pounds of Darrell Russell. Russell, who told us yesterday, because he was smiling, why shouldn't I be smiling? I get paid millions of dollars for participating in an extracurricular activity.
That's a great attitude. Hope he keeps it. Tell you, his running buddy Grady Jackson did it again, though. Dropped off in the zone blitz and was right where Warren Moon wanted to dump that ball off to Christian Fourier.
Here's the punt by Fiegels. Howard comes over, grabs it at the 10. He's down at the 17. Jason Kyle with the tackle, a 41-yard punt, 7 on the return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Budweiser. Now is the perfect time to enjoy a fresh, cold, Beechwood-aged Budweiser. And by Energizer Advanced Formula. No battery lasts longer.
Donald Hollis came on in relief of Jeff George in Arizona a month ago. Had a tough afternoon today.
He threw a there where Dean Wells intercepts him. And then Sean Springs does a fabulous job of just anticipating where he wanted to go with the ball on that one.
Here's Napoleon Kaufman on the handoff on first down. And he runs into Anthony Simmons. Number 51.
This is a tough call for John Gruden. You know, what do? You've got a defense that is playing very well and very aggressive against you with your backup quarterback. How much of your playbook do you really open up at this point? Or do you get conservative and hope to be the last person to take advantage? I mean, just say, I won't make the mistake, maybe the other guy will.
Hollis across the middle for Dudley, who is wide open. And Dudley fumbles the ball. He was down by contact at the 40-yard line. Oakland will retain possession. A gain of 20.
Well, there's the second time today, Vern, Ricky Dudley has run the exact same pattern. Deep over the middle, crossing pattern. A pattern that I think a lot of people associate with wide receivers, but you saw as his helmet hit the ground, the ball came out. So by rule, you know, that's basically the ball is dead at that point, but looked awful close to a fumble.
Dudley 4 for 65 now following that 20-yarder. Here's Hollis with a play fake. Steps up, finds Dudley again. Darrell Williams rides him down, but not before he gets inside the 30.
They're doing the same thing back-to-back times with Ricky Dudley, and he's the guy you've got to involve. I talked about what's John Gruden going to do with the playbook. John Gruden's going to go back to a staple in this style of offense, and that's getting the ball down the field to your tight end, Ricky Dudley. Dudley again lined up originally at the left tight end position. Donald Hollis got great pass protection. Good execution. Can they finish it off?
Handoff, McCallum spills out of a tackle and is down at the 23 by Anthony Simmons. Ever so close for Napoleon McCallum.
I can tell you from experience, too, this type of an experience, when you get big plays in a game you haven't played well, the offensive line gets pumped up. You saw Lincoln Kennedy on that last play get out there with Napoleon Kaufman, kind of bat him on the head and get a little excited. You know, Derek Graham and Barrett Robbins, Wisniewski, Mo Collins, even the young guys excited at this point.
2nd down and 4, a 3-point game. They'll come to the left. And he's close for the 1st down inside the 19-yard line. At the 18, Napoleon Kaufman down and stays there. He hangs on to his ankle. We'll check in with Jim Nance.
All right, Vern, San Diego twice took tying field goals off the board to accept penalties, keep the drive going, and then Terrell Fletcher gives them the go-ahead score where early 4th quarter, you've got an injury there. Fletcher's in because Natron Means broke his foot in the 2nd quarter. Back to Vern and Randy.
Napoleon McCallum limps off. And Harvey Williams on the field.
Napoleon Kaufman just a little run to the left. You saw he got up, was twisting a little bit on that left ankle. See that ankle kind of roll over. Remember last week against Baltimore, he rolled over the same ankle on a run.
Harvey Williams, right tackle, 10-yard line. Anthony Simmons, Chad Brown, an 8-yard gain.
Remember I talked about that offensive line starts getting a little bit excited. Well, you know, skill players show their excitement by making big plays. Those big ugly fellas there up front, they show their excitement by taking it out on the guys in front of them. And Steve Wisniewski takes it out on the guy in front of him about as well as any guard in the NFL.
2nd and 2 at the 10. 9:25 to go. Williams. That'll be close for the 1st down.
Williams, a ball carrier.
Well, this is a spot right here where Greg McMackin, the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, has to find another way. His defense in the 3rd quarter found a way to stop this Raiders offense. You know, they're talking playoffs. Raiders are talking playoffs. You think you're a playoff team? This is when either side has to take their shot right now to prove it.
Dan Saliamua gets up limping after the last play, and we'll bring the chain on for a measurement.
Well, Vern, Dan Saliamua came into this game with a little bit of a banged up knee. He made the play on that last play, and kind of surprised he was in at all. We didn't anticipate seeing him too much as he leaves the field.
He limps as he gets off the field at the 20. Third down. 10-7. Seattle. Brown right, Mickens left. Ritchie the fullback behind Donald Hollis. Harvey Williams, I don't know.
Well, you remember earlier, backed up on the goal line, 4th down. Raiders go for it, and Seattle just stuffs the Raiders offensive line back into the backfield. Donald Hollis has nowhere to go with it. And that was the end of that threat. Now they're going to measure it on this one right now. And I don't know if John Gruden, if they don't get this, you bring Greg Davis out, you kick that field goal with 8.5 minutes to go, and you tie this football game.
Short.
Remember, Greg Davis missed a 30-yarder earlier, pulled it left. That's got to go into the brain bank of John Gruden, because good snap, good hold, and Greg Davis yanked that one.
However, John Gruden is going to go with Greg Davis again.
And we got some confusion, substitution problem right now on the kicking team.
Dudley comes back out. Leo Aragus will hold. Adam True will snap it. From 26 and the tie, Greg Davis. We're tied at 10. 8 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in regulation. Davis hammers it home to notch it. Tied at 10, 8:17 to go regulation. Leo Araguz will kick off now for the Raiders, who used the passing of Donald Hollis and the catching of Ricky Dudley to position themselves for the tying field goal. Kerry Joseph, Amon Green, the deep man now for the Seahawks. Amon Green, the rookie. Down at the 21-yard line. Anthony Pryor makes the tackle, number 25.
And this just really seems to be a Raiders-Seahawks game. You should take a look there at Napoleon Kaufman testing out that left ankle. Sprained it last week against Baltimore and re-sprained it here today. But, you know, these games, whether it's 30-30 or 20-20, or in this case 10-10, always seem to be like this between the Raiders and the Seahawks.
Toss to Waters. He comes right and picks up a quick 4 yards to the 25-yard line. Coming tonight on CBS, see how Annie Sullivan sacrificed her life to bring light to Helen Keller in the sequel to The Miracle Worker. Roma Downey and Maura Kelly star in Monday After the Miracle tonight on CBS. Second down and 6. Brian Blades in the lineup now for James McKnight as the third wide receiver. Moon into the flat, dropped, tipped and dropped, and a flag thrown. They may get
Richard Harvey.
Yep.
For a shot on Warren Moon. Wow. That is not using that stuff between those Raiders stickers on your helmet.
Tom White, the referee.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 52. Hit to the head. First down.
But it's not like you're hidden in this situation. You're out there in front of God, country, and Gruden. That left arm came up there, and I don't think that was an intentional whack in the head. He was trying to block the pass. That's being overly protective. I'm sure John Gruden's going to point that out.
He's doing that right now.
Did.
I believe so. Here's the toss to Waters, going left, in trouble, caught and dropped. Grady Jackson.
Well, as I was giving the over-the-air version, John Gruden was giving the cable version, and here comes meat and potatoes again, Grady Jackson. We got Darrell Russell making plays, and Grady Jackson. Remember, here's defensive tackles that are used to having substitutions. This is a Raiders defense that's used 3 and 4 defensive tackles. These 2 young defensive tackles have played this whole ball game, and they've dominated from start to finish.
2nd and 14 in a tied game. Moon goes left. Incomplete. Mike Pritchard.
But when the Seahawks look at their yardage at the end of this day, if they don't like the totals, they got no one but themselves to blame. You've had McKnight dropping balls. Pritchard should have had that one. Warren Moon at this point needs a friend, because right now he can shoot a bunch of these receivers for lack of support.
Three-man rush on 3rd and 14. Moon into the flat for Fourier. Seattle still has not converted a 3rd down play today. They're now 0 for 12. Flags late.
Christian Fourier had his helmet off, and that's exactly what they're going to call. It's the Emmett and Dion helmet rule.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 68 jammed to the head. 15 yards. Down counts, 4th down.
No, it wasn't. It was Brian Habib being called late for a jam to the head. Now you want an opportunity and you're the Raiders offense, you just got an opportunity with that penalty. It's going to set up some great field position. Brian Habib just lost his cool.
10th punt for Jeff Eagles. Howard waits for it at the 30. Howard has it at the 28. Flag is down back at the 39-yard line at the other end.
By Steve Broussard, penalty flag in the field.
Even better field position.
The Raiders had a slogan here about just win, baby. Whoever wins this one's just going to win ugly, baby.
Personal foul, face mask, number 22, kicking team, 15-yard penalty, re-kick, 4th down.
Call on Fred Thomas. I don't think this is going to make the Seahawks proud. They're now in double digits for penalties. 10.
Well, they came in here and said, we got to make the big play, make the big catch. They haven't done that. They said we can't turn over the ball. They've done that. They've turned over the ball. They've had the penalties. If you kick the ball to Desmond Howard here, you're out of your mind.
Howard backing up at the 27. Out of bounds at the 44. He had a 63-yard punt for a touchdown earlier. This one, he counterpunches 28 yards.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM. Are you ready for e-business? And by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Fred Thomas is in.
5:56 to go in regulation, tied at 10 after that punt return from Desmond Howard. Oakland at the 44. Donald Hollis hands it off to Harvey Williams. Slips, keeps his balance, picks up 4 to the 40-yard lines.
Well, easily the biggest package and the biggest mistake and the biggest Seattle's had today has been Ricky Dudley. Deep over the middle, and let's see, shallow over the middle, and how about the big one here in the 4th quarter? Deep over the middle, setting up that last Raiders field goal. That's the guy you've got to stop right now if you're the Seattle defense.
In the last 2 weeks, over 200 yards worth of catches. 2nd down and 6. Tim Brown in motion wide to the right. Blitz coming from Seattle. Hollis with good protection goes short for Derek Brown. And he's got a 1st down at the 30-yard line. Brown held without a catch all season. Has 3 today. That's a gain of 11 before Darrell Williams makes the tackle.
Well, Brown's the guy that came out of Notre Dame as the big receiving tight end who couldn't block. Now he's known as the blocking tight end who's a questionable receiver, but not today. The big weapon, they've taken the big, deep weapons away in Jet and Brown. It's been the large weapons of Dudley and Brown that have hurt him.
Brown in motion to the right side. That's Tim Brown. Harvey Williams bounces off a tackle, cuts left, and gets to the 25. Darrell Williams, Chad Brown make the tackle.
When you're in a short game like this, where suddenly the field position becomes important, penalties and not tackling properly become critical. The penalties set up this field position for the Raiders, and not tackling properly is what kills this Seattle Seahawks defense here and gives up these extra yards to Harvey Williams. A lot of want to there.
2nd down and 6, game tied. Ritchie Cocked to the right side. Harvey Williams, the deep back, gets the handoff. Gets a block from Ritchie. Gets another block from Dudley. Harvey Williams, touchdown.
Dean Wells and Chad Brown had chances to tackle Harvey Williams, and he wouldn't go down. Dennis Erickson saw the key penalty, set up the field position, and bad tackling just cost the Seahawks a touchdown.
Greg Davis for the extra point. Desmond Howard scored 1 from 63 with a punt return. He sets this one up with a punt return. Harvey Williams scores it from 25 yards out. And Oakland has 17 unanswered points.
Yeah, what you have to watch is watch the lane that opens up on this side of the offense for the Oakland Raiders. What a nice job by Lincoln Kennedy. A great job by Ricky Dudley. A nice job by John Ritchie. And sloppy, pathetic attempts at tackling by the Seattle defense. Look at the bodies in the black jerseys are on the bodies on the white jerseys. And the bodies in the white jerseys that have a shot just can't do it. Well, Vernon, as bad as this football team has played over the last few years, you can tell from this crowd's reaction today, this group wants to love this football team. All they're looking for is a reason why.
Had a string of 5 in a row ended last week, and they're on the verge of winning again today. 60 minutes coming up next, except on the West Coast, and it will be seen in its entirety. Leo Araguz to kick off. Well, it was 30 years ago this weekend that the New York Jets and the Oakland Raiders played in this facility. And somebody pulled the plug at NBC right about this time, and Heidi began to be shown. And the Raiders came back and won that game. We will not pull the plug. We invite you to stay with CBS tonight. When this is over, you'll see 60 Minutes, followed by Touched by an Angel, and then the CBS Sunday movie, Monday After the Miracle.
Yeah, I actually remember that.
Do you?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
I do too, but I've got a couple of years on you. John Gruden said he was only 5 years old. He was watching Heidi. He didn't care about the ball game. 30 years ago, it was a very significant event in the history of the old AFL. Here's Moon back. Comes right. Catch is made up at the 48-yard line by Mike Pritchard, and then Lewis Riddick is there to nail him. A 13-yard gain. Grady Jackson with the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, good poise by Warren Moon getting out of that pocket, because Grady Jackson keeps it up. He and Darrell Russell are throwing fits in there. They are giving Derek Graham, the guards, Graham and Kendall, all they can handle up front. They're the reason this defense has done what it does, and they're the ones this defense needs to get Warren Moon and stop the run.
Ricky Waters heads left. Gets by James Trapp across the 50, and a flag accompanies the tackle.
It's going to be a push in the back. I think it's going to be called on Joey Galloway. They got the corner quick, and then Galloway tried to make a block to spring him the extra yards.
Illegal block, number 84, offense, 10-yard penalty. That'll be enforced in the end of the run. First down.
Just when you take one step forward, Dennis, you take 2 steps back. And watch Joey Galloway, top of the screen, 84, right there on Marquise Walker. You see those 2 hands and the push One hand in 3, one hand in the 8. That was the blocking problem. Had the corner, didn't really need to do that.
After the penalty, 1st and 13 from the 45. Moon pumps once, finds his receiver Fourier at the 49-yard line, so that's about 5. Greg Biekert, number 54, and Marquise Walker with the tackle. And what goes? Excuse me, Randy.
Vern, you got about 3:10 left in this football game for Dennis Erickson's offense to get things moving. You got to start thinking about timeouts. You got to start thinking about field position. You got to start thinking about execution. Do you have the time to be patient, or you just try to jam it down the field?
Play fake. Moon goes deep, and he's got a man open. Mike Pritchard to the 23-yard line. A 27-yard gain. Moon to Pritchard.
Well, that answers that question.
Yes, it does.
Well, you know, Seahawks have got 3 timeouts. Raiders have 2 timeouts. And Warren Moon's decided the heck with being patient. I'm jamming this thing down the field. I don't think this late in the football game, the style of defense Willie Shaw has been playing, as stifling as Dennis Erickson seen this Raider defense, that are supposed to be that wide open over the middle.
Galloway in a slot to the right.
No whistle. Why they stop?
Everybody stopped.
I mean, we're talking everybody, folks, not just the quarterback, Warren Moon, the receivers, the defensive backs. Watch what happens here. You see the receiver, everybody's going off the ball. All of a sudden, stop, timeout. You see that reaction going to the ground? That's how a 41-year-old quarterback stays healthy enough to become a 42-year-old quarterback this coming Wednesday.
And somewhere in the crowd, somebody blew a whistle, and that's what Warren Moon heard, and that's what a lot of these players heard, which is why they stopped their play. This Raider crowd is deafening. If you're the Seattle offense, you're in trouble, especially as you get closer to the end zone where these fans are relentless. Back to Vern and Randy.
And after that, it's 2nd and 13. And that will go as the 5th sack of Moon today. Here's Moon back. Right side almost picked off by Biekert. Joey Galloway, the intended receiver. And Galloway had the big punt return, but hasn't been that much of a factor receiving the ball.
Warren Moon got great protection. This would officially be known as trying to sort of jam something in there, because Joey Galloway, even if he'd have laid out, I don't know if he'd have been able to touch that.
Check the Seahawks conversion rate. Moon, Galloway. That will be close.
I think it's going to be just short.
And if so, it will be 4th and 1. Timeout called by Seattle. Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, take a look back at one of the most colorful and illustrious traditions of all of college sports. Anchors Away, a history of Navy football presented by the Military Channel. That will be followed by NASDAQ Amex College Football, when the Kentucky Wildcats take on the Tennessee Vols. It all starts with Tim Brando, Craig James, and Lou Holtz on College Football Today. Fourth and 1. Dennis Erickson's bunch.
There's 10 teams log jammed in the AFC trying to see who's going to go to the playoffs right now. Who's chasing Denver? Who's chasing Jacksonville? And Willie Shaw's defense right now has a chance to put some space between themselves and the Seahawks and the Chiefs and the rest of this division.
4th and 1. Waters behind Max Strong. That's Millie in motion, the 3rd tight end. They toss it to Waters. He's got the first down at the 11-yard line. Tackle made by Richard Harvey.
Nice execution by that Seattle offense. There's Willie Brown, defensive back coach for the Oakland Raiders, but that was all execution by the Seattle offense. That's having to get that yard, and that's jamming it in the other guy's face.
Galloway and Pritchard both wide left. 1st and 10. Moon drills it. Caught. Fourier. Touchdown.
He's working against Louis Riddick, Vern. He catches a touchdown in front of Louis Riddick. Remember, Riddick is in for Anthony Newman. Went out earlier in this football game. Look at the patience of Warren Moon waiting for his tight end Fourier to clear. Newman's falling, can't rip it out, and then Fourier manages to fall forward into the end zone. That is huge, but you know what? Are you really surprised Warren Moon was able to get this football team on a drive like that? That's this quarterback.
Todd Peterson for the tie. Oh boy, just inside the left upright.
Point after is good.
And Dennis Erickson trying to show a little more emotion in recent weeks. Has decided not to leap.
A lot of being a playoff team is having the want to at this time of the year. November is moving time. You know, you talk about Masters, Vern, you work the Masters in golf. Saturday's moving day.
Right.
November is moving time for a football team. Now's the time of the year you prove what kind of a football team you are. And when you look at Warren Moon, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, you don't have to look any further to find out what kind of a team these Seahawks are than their quarterback.
One more look at the TD. Moon, Christian Fourier in front of Louis Riddick, and we are tied at 17.
I can't tell you the last game we've done, Vern, that you've had this many big plays, important plays made by the tight end. Talked about Ricky Dudley last week, had 100 yards receiving, 105, only being the second tight end, and 98 to have over 100 yards receiving. Between he and Fourier, some critical grabs today.
.101 to go in regulation. Todd Peterson will kick off. Both teams 2 timeouts left.
Kind of game we've had so far. As the ball falls off the tee, you got to watch these returns. You get this ball to Desmond Howard, you better get both arms around him, because he's not trying to set up field position. He's trying to take this to the house.
And it falls off the tee again.
It's not the wind. It's got to be an uneven. You know, why don't they have tees? How are you supposed to put the ball stick in a hole in a bunch of plastic? What happened to the little legs in the back of the, you know, a real tee? That's not a tee.
From the 50s, right?
That's not. That's
Sure.
That's finding a use for door stops.
Happy days. Leather helmets and such. Heidi. Peterson. And Desmond Howard to return it for the Raiders from the 7. Desmond Howard out to the 26-yard line. Tackle made by Robert Wilson. Well, the Denver Broncos sitting back getting ready for Kansas City. Kansas City struggling, of course. Denver leading the AFC West with a 9-0 mark. Oakland 6-3 coming into today. Seattle 5-4. All those teams Randy mentioned fighting really for wild card position, barring a complete collapse in the Rocky Mountains. Here's Hollis, short to John Ritchie. Flag is down. Would be an 11-yard gain and a first down if it stands. But as we said, there is a flag. That is not exactly shocking news in this game.
No, we haven't necessarily seen more offense this year or more defense this year, but we have seen more flags this year. Kind of makes you wonder if the guy can remember why he threw it.
Delay of game, Seattle.
You know, Dennis Erickson was out on the field during that play.
That may be it.
12 men, defense. Penalty is declined. Take the result of the play. First down.
Gain of 12 yards on the play. First and 10 for the Raiders at the 38.
Ball at the 38, first down and 10. 48 seconds to go in regulation. Here's Hollis. Coming left. Fights for extra yardage and is down at the 49. That's an 11-yard gain.
Got timeout there with 38 seconds left in this half. In this ball game before any kind of overtime happens. This is plenty of time, even with a backup quarterback. I guarantee you, Vern, there's stuff John Gruden is just now unwrapping off that list he's got in front of him, just saying, okay, I didn't want to use this, but now I'm going to have to.
Doubleheader for you next week on CBS. The Seattle team will go down to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Many of you will see that, or Jacksonville, Pittsburgh. And then the second game of our doubleheader, the Raiders go into Mile High to take on the Broncos, and Kansas City comes out west to take on San Diego. Doubleheader next Sunday, the NFL on CBS. Greg Davis hoping he gets a chance to break the tie. Has been 1 of 1 today, 1 of 2. He missed from 30. His career long 55 yards. Backs are split. Here comes the blitz. Hollis has it tipped behind the line, and there's a flag.
Personal foul, shot to the head. Fred Thomas, number 22, on the blitz.
Man, oh man.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 22, defense. Hit to the head. 15 yards. First down.
Here comes Fred Thomas, 22. Jumps up, and look at that. The left arm goes right across the chops of Donald Hollis, knocks that chin strap up around Hollis's nose. That's not using your head. That's stupid.
Here's Hollis on first down. Fires it to the 21-yard line. Tim Brown. 14-yard gain. Timeout, Oakland. That'll be their last. 12 Seattle penalties for 127 yards. John Gruden has Don Hollis go to Tim Brown on first down.
And the part of the offense you haven't seen much of. You haven't seen Tim Brown do a whole lot today. He's been working against Sean Springs. It's been a great matchup all day long. When they really absolutely had to have it, Tim Brown found a way to get enough clearance on Sean Springs so Donald Hollis could fit him that ball. Remember, though, this is all set up by that penalty that gave him the field position that enables him to do this.
On first down, Greg Davis gets the call. 25 seconds to go, 22 officially. Araguz will hold. This will be from 38. He missed from 30 in the first half. This was in the first half of play from 30 yards away, wide left. He made it from 26, and now Greg Davis has a chance to break the tie.
Well, it's a great opportunity to turn that miss into a yeah, but I made the big one.
Adam True will snap it. Leo Araguz will hold it. Greg Davis kicks it, and he kicks it perfectly. If this score stands, it will be a long, long night for Fred Thomas of the Seattle Seahawks.
There are hardly any non-self-inflicted wounds on the Seattle Seahawks right now. It's been penalties. It's been missed opportunities. and it's been about redemption and making things better. And John Gruden's football team, like I said earlier, they've just won ugly, baby.
Oh. Warren Moon watches the field goal attempt.
Those of you that might think that's not much of a shot, and those of you might think, well, gee, that's no reaction. Didn't you ever watch, you know, old Westerns and Fred Thomas with that hit to the head set up the Raiders on that last field position play? But, you know, the old Westerns, did the gunslinger ever react? And that's what a quarterback in the NFL's got to be, is an old-style gunslinger. And Warren Moon is an old-style gunslinger who's got 21 seconds and 1 timeout at his disposal.
Well, we're close to Veterans Day, and a little salute from Greg Davis across the way. Araguz will kick off. Don't forget 60 Minutes coming up in its entirety, as well as the remainder of the Sunday night schedule on CBS. Amon Green. Flag is down. 2 flags are down, and Green is down at the 31.
We got officials who are going to need rotator cuff surgery after this game.
They should be given it even if they don't need it.
And the main candidate's been Dennis Erickson's Seahawks.
83, holding during the return, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And this is when life as a coach is miserable. You work all week long getting your football team ready to play, and they just get vapor locked. The brain cramps and they make stupid mistakes. This is a situation where the blame will go to the coach, but the blame belongs on the players. This was a terrible performance by these players that made dumb mistakes by Seattle. That's going to cost them this football game if Warren Moon can't pull out a miracle here.
13 penalties against the Seahawks. They have 2 timeouts left, 14 seconds, and they operate from their own 15. Darrell Russell. How about 42-year-old Warren Moon outrunning 22-year-old Darrell Russell?
Oh, don't be fooled. He aged in cryogenic years. It's kind of like being put to sleep, being up in Canada there for those years, freezing his tail off in Edmonton. So he's really probably about a 35-year-old quarterback, and fear can be a great motivator even to a 35-year-old quarterback when you got 320 pounds chasing you. There's Greg Davis. Could be the hero. Could have been the GOAT.
6 to go. Motion right side. The 14th penalty against the Seahawks.
Howard Ballard, the veteran.
Prior to the snap, ball start. Offense, number 75.
Raiders victory today would put them at 7-3, send them into Denver next week to take on the Broncos, who play tomorrow night at Kansas City. And a Seattle loss makes them 5-5 with a road trip to Dallas.
If John Gruden's football team thinks it can play like this against Denver in Mile High Stadium, they will be a silver and black speed bump if they make this many mistakes against the Broncos.
Could be the last play of the game. Warren Moon airs it out. Intercepted by Charles Woodson. Oakland wins it.
This is a football game. The Raiders have to be proud about the fact that they found a way to win and mad about the fact of how they did it. They did it very ugly, and they made a lot of mistakes. And if you're Dennis Erickson and the Seattle Seahawks, you can be mad at no one but yourself, because your receivers dropped balls, your special teamers didn't tackle, and your defense made critical errors at the worst possible time.
Final score 20-17. John Gruden may think tonight he's as old as Warren Moon. Final 20-17. Oakland, they go to 7-3. The Seahawks fall to 5-5. Coming up next, 60 minutes except on the West Coast. So for Randy Cross and Michelle Tafoya, I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from Network Associates Coliseum. The Raiders take the edge on a 38-yard field goal by Greg Davis, and they defeat the Seahawks and Warren Moon 20-17. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports.